Ladies and gentlemen, and ladies, welcome back to Tank Moto. Today I'm on Ducati Multistrada 1100S, big old air-cooled V-twin, or L-twin if you're a Ducati aficionado. Big old adventure bike. I'll give you my thoughts on it. Well, first off, the engine's a great old-fashioned trooper of an engine. It's got lots of grunt. Big old air-cooled engine. Out of the way, pheasant. And I haven't ridden many adventure bikes, to be fair with you, but first thing I have noticed is it's very much an upright position. You know, it feels very motocross style, very much upright, and I do like the wind protection though. Yeah, you could definitely stand up on it, you know. Oh, thanks car, that's lovely, isn't it? Yeah, you can stand up on it. You could definitely do some green laning on it. And I wouldn't mind betting this would be a great bike if you wanted to go do a tour, you know, you wanted to tour through Europe. It's very, I think it's around 90 horsepower, I believe, this one. It's got a bit more horsepower than what the 1100 they throw in the Scrambler. It's got some go. Got a lovely sound to it as well. Got a lovely sound to it. And at slow speeds as well, it's not too bad, I have to say. It's a bit vibey, being what it is, big V-twin air-cooled 1100, but it's not bad. I mean, what are we at? 3,000 revs at the moment, 27 miles an hour. It's actually quite gentlemanly. And as with all Ducatis, I think the more you ride them, the more you sort of end up falling in love with them a little bit. They've got their own character, haven't they? And this is before the days of fly-by-wire technology, you know. This is an old school physical throttle cable, you know, so, which I happen to like. I like to feel every little increment. You get what you ask for, you know, when you turn the throttle. And it does offer great wind protection, this bike. Brakes are good as well. There's no weight on the wrist at all, you know. I think it's a perfect bike for touring, actually. And it's got some, you know, being a Ducati, it's got some sporty DNA to it. You know, the O-lins, front and rear, fully adjustable. Looks $1 million. And these mirrors, probably some of the best mirrors I've actually experienced on a motorcycle. They're perfect view from the rear. It's got so much grunt, low to mid, and it sort of sings all the way to the top, really. I think it's one of their classic engines for Ducati. They tried and tested, they've had it for years, haven't they? They've never given up on it. Still use it to this day, so that says it all, doesn't it, really? There's a couple of things that I noticed that are a bit annoying on this bike. Well, the ignition, where the ignition is positioned, I don't know if you can see there, but quite fiddly to get the key in and out, and put the steering lock on. A bit annoying. Failing that, I don't know, I'm struggling to find things wrong with it actually. The only thing I will say, you don't get that initial front end feel. I don't know whether it's the case of all adventure bikes, got a longer wheelbase than say my XSR 700, and it feels a bit higher up, and so you don't get that sort of front end confidence. So you know, it's a little bit, sometimes it feels like a little bit blind faith going into bends at high speeds, but you know, that's the one thing I have noticed since riding this bike. But it's great on fuel. It's actually really good on fuel. And it's actually got a fuel gauge, would you believe it? I'd like to do some miles on this bike actually. If I was going on a trip or something, I think I'd opt for one of these bikes. The adventure scene is, you know, it's a cool little segment of the biking world, isn't it? And this is before the sporty adventure bikes from KTM. You know, this is kind of, this is the setting the trend beforehand, wasn't it? So, and it like typical Ducati, gets looks no matter where you go. The jury was definitely out on when this bike was released, this shape and the design. The jury was definitely out. People weren't so sure on the looks, but I think 10 years on, it's really grown into its looks. Funny, isn't it? It's funny, the more I ride it, the more I fall in love with it, I start to like it. Straight away I wasn't too sure, but now I'm riding it, I'm like starting to like it more and more.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's a nice bike, that's it, but it's not the sort of thing you can take liberties with, I don't think. She handles well for a big old girl. I'm not sure exactly. I should have got my facts right before the video, but I think she's definitely 200 plus. It's probably around 200. Well, I'll put it up on the screen, but I'm pretty sure she's about 220 odd kilos. You know, and that's maybe me being a bit generous. I'm not sure. But you don't notice that. I must say, you don't notice that once it gets going. Very stable motorcycle. I've noticed it with every Ducati I've ever jumped on. I end up falling in love with them. It's not love at first sight, but the more you ride it, the more you end up falling in love with it. It's like, you know, once you figure out how it wants to be ridden, you know, in its little foil balls, it's yeah, it's endearing. It's an endearing motorcycle. It's got these cool little compartments here as well. I don't think I've mentioned it yet. Down below the knees, you know, little storage space. See what she shakes and bakes like anyway. Oh, she goes, I'll tell you, there she goes, definitely gets a lick on. She's got a bit of front end nappy there. You're not gonna be left wanting for performance, because it's fast. It's bastard fast. It is, it's bastard fast. And I have to say, when I first jumped on this bike, I wasn't underwhelmed with the engine, but I was a bit, I wasn't full of confidence to chuck it about, you know, initially. Because it is a different way of riding. You're upright, the bike's high, you know, but the more you get used to it, that fades away. That really fades away, and then it's second nature then. And once you're used to it, it's a weapon. It's actually this bike's a weapon.